What is up, everyone? Hello, and welcome to the third episode of a wrestling podcast. My name is Rob, and thank you. Thank you to everybody, weirdly enough, that's kind of like having fun on this ride so far. Only 3 fucking episodes in. This is pretty crazy, actually. Like, getting viewership from a few different sources that I didn't expect. Well, listenership, I guess. So, thank you. I'm not saying a wrestling podcast is a rousing success after the first couple episodes, but what I am going to say is I see where this is going, right? Like, I mean, yeah, this is pretty cool. So, thank you for everybody that's taking the time to be a part of this. I hope everybody liked the second episode where Brandon was introduced. I've got a few more that might be coming this week, along with an episode on Final Battle, an episode on NXT, an episode on Dynamite. I'm gonna try to get as many of these things out as I can when I can. So yeah, it's a hell of a fun time doing it, and like I said, I appreciate everybody. So why don't we talk about this Raw that happened last night, right? I was really disappointed with like I don't know. I, give me a second here to collect my thoughts, and we'll get right into it. There's a hell of a lot of news too for me to ramble on about close to the end of the show here. So let's get with this shit, right? Right. All right. First and foremost, now that we're here in the meat and potatoes proper of the show, right? We're going to talk about this Raw that happened last night. I know I was kind of poo poo doo doo right there in the last segment, but look, they're one of my favorite arenas. They were at the TD Garden. They disrespected the Celtics, by the way. They said that the Bruins were playing there. Yeah, I know the Bruins play there, but look, when we're gonna really get down to brass tacks, right? The fucking Celtics have 18 championships, and the Bruins have 6. Put some respect on the Celtics name when you're at TD Garden. Don't just talk about the Bruins. They didn't even mention the Celtics. They showed some Celtics stuff. That was pretty much it. But nah. I was hogwashed and hornswoggled and bamboozled that they would talk about the Bruins and not the fucking Celtics. But let's get away from that. We opened up Raw with like CM Punk. And he's talking a whole bunch of shit. Also, he said that he was gone for 7 years. Bro, it's been 9. We know it's been 9. You've said it's been 9 like 100 fucking times. What do you mean 7 years? Stop trying to change the story. And if you can't change it, then finish it. Anyway, so we get Seth and Punk talking shit on each other, and there was just dinger after dinger, talking about how what was it? Seth basically saying that he had more main events at WrestleMania than Punk ever could. Uh, Punk said that Seth was his failure. We're kind of going down a rehashed MJF storyline with this one. It's fine. It's fine. I think they really kind of needed to get this story done before they went into Rumble and Mania and all that. So, yeah, we're getting it thrown in because, as we all know, it was supposed to be a World Heavyweight Championship match between Punk and Seth at WrestleMania this year, at WrestleMania 40 in Philly, but it never happened, obviously, because Punk got hurt at the Rumble. We all know that. So, couldn't do it. But now, those two have gotten it to a point over the course of the last few weeks where I'm beginning to care about the feud again, because weirdly enough, after they dropped it and we went with Drew and we did all that, I really just didn't give a fuck about Seth and Punk. And even with their interactions the last couple weeks or even the last couple months, the sprinklings of everything after Punk said he's got to go away for a bit after Hell in a Cell. Then on his return, like I'm not as over the moon about this feud as I originally thought I was going to be. And I don't know if it's fucking with me or not or what, but I can't I can't get into this feud like I was getting into it previously. And I don't know why. Maybe the significance of their feud is gone in my eyes because it was a Philly thing, right? Both were Ring of Honor champions, both were this, both were that. There was a lot of parallels there. The storyline that they were going with at that time period, I feel like was better than this Rollins was Punk's failure, because even though Seth looked up to him, whatever storyline wise, at that point, you're kind of making Punk come off as a dick, even though, yeah, we know he's a dick, but it's just like, bro, Rollins has accomplished a hell of a lot of fucking things in that ring. And he's not a failure. And I think that might be one of the major issues that I have with this. Like, they're going at a thread that's there. Yes, it's there. I'm not going to deny it, but it's not the same thread that it could have been in April when we were having a world championship match in Philly between two people that were never supposed to be in the WWE, right? Like that to me is far more compelling than, oh, well, Rollins is just Punk's failure. When he's not a fucking failure. There's nothing in Rollins' career that says he's a failure. Like, yeah, when he got to the WWE, just like Punk, he had a lot of people in his ear basically telling him to go to fuck away. But Heyman pushed through on Punk and Triple H pushed through on Seth. And because of that, we ended up with two phenomenal fucking independent talents that never ever should have been what they became, right? So I don't know. I'm not really into this story as much as I guess I could be or should be. I don't know. But there's more to that in just a minute. After that, we had another segment with Judgment Day. And it's very clear that Finn is going to get kicked out of this fucking group. Everybody's basically pulling a Jericho around him, like smiling and like, if listen to Finn and you'll win and da 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 da, and they're doing all this fucking like hokey dokey shit. Everybody's kind of like, it almost seems like they're patting Finn on the head, saying, "Oh, good boy," before they, take him to the back and fucking put a bullet in his head like Old Yeller. So there's going to be more to that later on with Raw. Needless to say, still not happy with the show. It's been a couple segments. I think all this took like a half an hour, maybe a little bit more, and there was so much commercials. But that's kind of the theme for the night. So we finally get to the first match, and it's Braun Breaker versus Ludwig Kaiser. It's for the Intercontinental Championship. Braun wins. So many fucking commercials during this break. I think there was 3 commercial breaks during the match. I mean, not so many commercials during the break, but that should tell you how many fucking commercials there were, right? That I'm sitting here saying there were commercials during the break. God, pretty sure that match had 3 commercial breaks. Braun won, like I said. It wasn't anything great. I think Braun needs some sort of character development here. Calling him Braun Breaker is still ass to me. I think he should be Braun Steiner. I think he should just be the badass Braun Steiner. Jesus, what the fuck? Maybe that's why he's not Braun Steiner. because I always want to say Steiner. But isn't Steiner the right way? Braun Steiner. Yeah. All right, there we go. Braun Steiner, or Braun the Badass Steiner, or the Badass Braun Steiner, whatever you want to do. Like, we need that, I think, because Braun Breaker, I can't get behind this dude. I know everybody loves him and he's really good in the ring for the talent that he has. Yes, I'm not going to deny that. But I just need some sort of fucking character from this dude, man. I'm tired of all the big dudes in the WWE being Goldberg 2.0. They all got fucking spears. They all do the same thing. They all run at you. They all fucking just plow through you. And it's just, it, why? Why do all of them have the same fucking gimmick? And two Brawns have the same gimmick. Braun Strowman and Braun Breaker both do the same thing. They plow through their people. They have nothing but absurd power moves. And that's it. At least Braun Breaker does some athletic shit in between. I'll give him that. But again, there's something about his presentation. There's something about his character that's just not hitting with me. And of course, again, it doesn't have to hit with me, right? It can hit with everybody else. I just don't like the character. I give him a hell of a bunch of credit for his work rate, that he does do in the ring and all that. I'll never be able to do it. So whenever I'm sitting here poo-pooing things, it's not like I'm trying to make these people out to be horrible or anything. I got so much respect for everybody in the professional wrestling business because it is such an art form to me. But there's just something about Braun's name, character, that's just not gelling with me, and it's okay. It doesn't have to, It's for what is it that Eric Bischoff and Jeff Jarrett say? Wrestling is subjective. It's subjective. Not everything is going to be digested the same way by everybody, right? Next segment, we have New Day trying to get into a locker room and change, but nobody wants them there. Ray basically looked like Lickitung for some reason. I don't understand why he was in all pink like a salmon, but there we had it. He was literally just all pink, looking like a penis. Yep. So, Saturday Night Main Event recap for Cody and KO. We ended up seeing that Cody was attacked after the match because I don't know if everybody saw this or not, but Saturday Night Main Event just got cut off. It just got absolutely cut off. These motherfuckers aren't playing with WWE's time, man. And I think I said this previously, and if I didn't say it in a podcast, bruh, you guys have been doing this for 50 fucking years, right? Or 40 or whatever it is, whatever number they want to claim. Y'all should know television production. If you don't have an overrun and you don't have anything like that, you need to get your fucking story in ASAP, man. I don't know who went over on their matches on Saturday for Saturday Night Main Event or what, but the fact that, the show got cut off and they had to do this package of KO doing the package pile driver and KO attacking Triple H and taking the championship with him, the Winged Eagle. That should have been on Saturday Night Main Event. You guys know your time restrictions, man. USA allows you to do a few minute overrun sometimes, but we'll get into that later. Yeah. So after we had the little recap, we had a War Raider promo for later on tonight for the main event. That promo definitely let us know that the War Raiders were winning that match. There was no doubt about it in my mind that the War Raiders were going to win this match after they were talking about their kids and talking about their injuries and talking about this and how this is their last chance and da 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 da. Like, Triple H loves these guys. He loved them in NXT. They're finally capable of being what they were in NXT. And yeah, in the middle of the show, they basically confirmed. Speaking of confirming, right after that, we end up getting like another Netflix ad, which, by the way, the Netflix ads are insane. It's every time we go to a segment, every time we go to something, it's Raw on Netflix, 1/6/2024. I get it. Cool. You got to promote it during the show. Can y'all promote it also out of the show too? I don't know why professional wrestling just doesn't do this, but I don't see any fucking ads on any other channels for Raw on Netflix or nothing like that. But I'll see an ad for the red one on Amazon on something that doesn't even matter. Like, get outside your box, promote your fucking company. I don't know why this is never done. Anytime I see a wrestling commercial is usually during wrestling. The only time that I saw anything else outside of that was when NBC was doing commercials for Saturday Night Main Event during Sunday Night Football and shit like that. I don't see commercials for wrestling anywhere else, but needless to say, they got to do it. I get it. It's going to be annoying for the next couple weeks because if you take all the ads, all the 30-second ads or the 10-second ads or whatever you do, you got about 10 minutes worth of fucking Netflix ads throughout a 2-hour show that's already taken down to an hour and 40 because of, or let's just say an hour and a half because of commercials. Because last night the commercials were fucking insane. And then you have like 4 backstage segments, 3 matches, boom, show's done. Sorry, y'all, I need water. But after all these Raw is Netflix ads, we finally get CM Punk and Seth Rollins to be confirmed for the first Raw on Netflix, which is huge. They're finally going to get the first match in this feud going because this isn't the end. It's not going to be a one and done. So Dom, Liv, and Raquel came out. Dom talks. He gets booed to high fucking heaven. Liv unleashes a fucking bullhorn. And then Rhea comes out. And I thought that she was going to announce that they're going to have a match at the first Raw on Netflix. Nope. All she did was announce that she was number one contender. And we knew that she was the number one contender already. They announced it previously. So I don't know what the purpose of this was on Raw, except for to call Dom a chicken tender slut, which is quite possibly one of the best insults that I've heard in a little bit. Then we went to another backstage segment because this segment was in the ring. The backstage segment now is Seth. Seth is going to be interviewed. Like, they walk up to him and, talk to him about, hey, I don't know if you heard, but Adam Pearce just confirmed this. And then, like, as they were trying to talk, Sammy and Drew are fighting, and it breaks up. They get broken up. They do all that. Sammy and Drew are just fighting and everything. Then it goes back to the ring where Zoe Stark is coming out. Raquel Rodriguez was already in the ring because they didn't say that there was a match coming up or anything. They just kind of went to commercial with all of that happening. So we get back and Raquel Rodriguez is in the ring. Zoe Stark's coming out. And we don't know where the fuck Zoe Stark's been. But either way, Kayden Carter gets her introduction. Zoe Stark won. Nobody cared. This match had 2 commercial breaks in it, and the crowd was dead. So for the first 2 matches, the crowd was absolutely fucking gone for this. Again, Between the commercial breaks, between the Netflix things, like this Raw suffered big time. Then we had throwaway segment with The Miz and Karrion Kross with the rest of Final Testament. Nothing real significant happened in that. Then Chad belittled American Alpha again and says he's going to start with Tozawa again. It's the same fucking thing over and over. Then the Pure Fusion Collective attacked Kairi Sane. Yet another random women attack. So we had all these backstage segments, literally 1, 2, 3 in a row. And it went from one to the other to the other. That was at least 10 to 15 minutes right there. And then we had our third match of the night, which is the final match. Raw had 3 matches, not even 4, whatever. And it was the War Raiders versus Judgment Day for the Tag Team Championship. I wanted more for the War Raiders. They deserved more. They deserved better. The match was very predictable. You knew they were going to win. Again, with the video package earlier in the night, the way that they've been kind of promoting themselves, the way things have been going, the way things have been with Finn, the way things have been with Judgment Day, you fucking knew that War Raiders were going to win. And look, it was set up by design, right? Sometimes we say that like with Saturday Night Main Event, I'm sitting there losing my fucking mind with these predictions because I didn't know what to do. There's so many different storylines that you can have going out of any of those matches that were on Saturday Night Main Event. But with the War Raiders and Judgment Day, you knew it was finite. It was done. And I don't know if that kind of like sucked the energy out or what, but it is what it is. It failed, unfortunately, because the War Raiders deserve that big time. And they got their moment. But then they didn't. Because, see, Damian Priest interfered. That's how they ended up winning the tag team championship. And remember earlier in the show when I said USA usually gives them an overrun by about a minute or 2 or 5 minutes or whatever they need? Well, I guess because, that relationship is ending, USA doesn't need to do that anymore. So as the pyro was going off before the ending to anything happened, and the War Raiders began celebrating, the fucking show got cut. The War Raiders didn't get their television celebration because the WWE is pulling an Andy Reid when he was the Eagles coach and has no idea about time management. I was disappointed. I was very disappointed. Last night's Raw, as a total, I don't know. I don't know if I need a grading system here, and I know. Again, like I said, I'm not trying to be negative Nancy or anything like that, but I'm not going to fucking be positive Pete when there's nothing to be positive about. This episode of Raw could have been much better. We're leading into Raw on Netflix. We're leading into Rumble. We're leading into the biggest time of the professional wrestling calendar. And we got treated to a Raw that felt like it was something that Vince McMahon didn't even want. I don't know. I don't know what the disconnect is right now on Raw, but maybe they're saving things for Netflix, right? Like, I get it. There's only a couple more weeks of Raw left on basic cable. It's done. We're going into a new era. We're going into a new thing. The logo looks fantastic. When it was leaked a couple months ago from those toys that started hitting the market, I was like, ooh, that's clean. I like the way that it's set up. I like the way that it is. It's probably one of the better Raw logos in a while. I can't wait for the presentation on Netflix to see exactly what happens. But I feel like because they're focusing so much on that they're not focusing on current product. And that sucks. So I don't think I really have anything else to say on this part. So I'm just going to end it. And here we are with the final segment of the show and probably the ending. Yeah. So, God, professional wrestling has been insane everywhere else, right? Like, Ring of Honor Final Battles happening. We had fucking Jericho make his debut at GCW in New York a couple days ago. Matt Cardona is fighting him for the fucking Ring of Honor World Heavyweight Championship. So you got wrestlers going to GCW that belong to AEW but are wrestling in Ring of Honor. You got Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks making appearances in New Japan. Like the Young Bucks just made a fucking surprise appearance. They're back in New Japan. Kenny Omega's having a match. Wrestle Dynasty's coming up in January. Wrestle Kingdom 19's coming up in January. There's a shit ton of intercompany promotional things going on with that. I think Game Changer might be getting involved with AEW again, because remember there was a little bit of a time period there where GCW was involved with AEW and the whole pizza cutter incident. But anyway, there's there's a lot going on in the world of professional wrestling, and I'm really here for it because WWE is the Roman Reigns, right? They're the tribal chief, and everybody else is just sitting there kind of getting what the WWE, I'm not going to say throws out, but what the WWE doesn't pay attention to. And I think that that's a market that really needs to be tapped into. And I don't think it's being tapped into right by Tony and all the other company runners and shit. Like, I really want to see TNA do more with WWE. I really want to see MLW do more with WWE. And I think, and I talked about this to Brandon on, episode 2. I really just want to see all of these companies kind of like put their shit aside, which I know it'll never happen because you got to treat each of these companies kind of like they're a football team or a baseball team. The WWE is the Yankees, they're the Lakers, or not the Lakers, fuck the Lakers, they're the Celtics. The WWE is the Yankees, the Celtics, the old fucking Bulls, Patriots, whatever have you. They're a dynasty. Warriors, WWE is a dynasty. All these other companies are really just trying. And I think they really need to start attacking areas that the WWE doesn't attack, which is hard because the WWE really tries to attack as many different areas as they can when it comes to television and overseas and this and that and da 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 da. Eric Bischoff brought up a really good point. How come nobody has tried to tap into the India market yet? Like, we know that is where so many professional wrestling fans are. I'm not going to do the internet jokes that come with that territory. Everybody knows. Why, though? Why is no company really trying to get out there and tap into that market? It's, and I hate to say it, it's an embarrassment of riches just waiting to happen. If you were to really tap into that market, or even a couple of these overseas markets that are just ready to boom, like I know the Japanese market's not as big as it was in 2014 to 2016, right? Maybe even 2013. But it's still huge. There's still a love for professional wrestling that they're not being tapped into. And I don't get it. I don't understand why none of these companies are doing that. And it's kind of absurd to me. It really is. Um, I do believe that might be everything that I have for this episode because I'm going to be recording another episode later on today for tomorrow's release. And I think I've also got another episode that I'm going to record later on. because as I kind of alluded to earlier, I've got a merry band of misfits that I'm going to be rotating through the shows. And we're all going to be doing different things. We're going to be doing different segments. But I decided to give all of these people, my friends that are considered my family. Okay. I decided to put all of these people on a wrestling podcast because they're all huge professional wrestling fans as well. So, real quick, I just want to give a shout out to Brandon motherfucking Allen, who was the first subject that was episode 2. I want to give a shout out to Lilith Alexandria, my child, Jossie Medina, my homie, Joshua Wagner, another homie, JD Pierce, another homie, Rebecca Ryan Cross, who is also a host for the horror company that I have, New Jersey Horror Collective, which is currently on hiatus on my end because of a few things. And then, of course, my homie from London area, from transatlantic area, Mass MC. You all know him from the drum and bass area, the drum and bass world over there in the UK. Drum and bass kitchen is mainly his thing, and he does wonderful with it. So everybody that I just mentioned will be rotating in and out of the episodes. There's going to be top tens. There's going to be what ifs. There's going to be all sorts of things, and each of those people are going to have an individual episode dedicated to them, so that way everybody knows who they are. And hopefully, as time goes on, I'll be able to get interviews with independent wrestlers. I'll be able to do a bunch of things in the local area. So we're going to see how this podcast goes, right? But for right now, I don't have any fancy things to say at the end. I don't know anything to do yet. We're still figuring this out. So until I get my footing here, talk to you guys again soon. Later. Hey, this is the part of the show where it's the end. And I gotta tell you to like, follow, subscribe, do all that great shit. A wrestling podcast. Look it up everywhere. Rob, I'm out.